What's up, yo? What's up? Rom Wills back at you with yet another car video. A little bit later today. Not really coming from the gym. For some odd reason, I slept late today. So, anyway, right? I was, Super Tuesday. Today's Super Tuesday. Now, you remember I said, like, once the primaries got started, I started doing some political stuff. And I might throw this out here, see what the reaction is. But, today is the day to pay attention. Now, of course, you don't have to pay attention on the Republican side, even though some people call themselves challenging President Trump. I was like, ain't even worth paying attention to. But on the Republican side. But on the Democratic side, this is the day to pay attention to. Because I know a lot of people got into like what had happened early in the primaries and stuff, First, I don't know that guy's name, the mayor from Indianapolis, Pete. I never paid attention to his last name. I couldn't pronounce it on that. And I remember when he won Iowa and some people were getting all excited. Yeah, he won Iowa and stuff. And I was just like, I'm going to tell you why. The earlier primaries are never something to pay attention to anyway. Well, you pay attention, but you don't pay attention. Like, caucuses are weird anyway. Caucuses are weird. And even the early primaries, the reason why is caucuses, the earlier stuff before Super Tuesday, you have, over the years, and you can check the history behind this, you have candidates who will, kick ass and then don't win any further. That never fails. Never fails. Well, no, I think Obama won in 2008 in the caucuses. Even then, I wasn't taking him seriously until he started winning on Super Tuesday. So, okay, that's a good exception. But, people were talking about this Pete guy, and I was just like, And even Sanders winning, everybody like, oh, he the front runner. All of a sudden, Biden comes up. And then the Pete guy who wins like the Iowa caucuses, he drops out, endorses Biden. I was like, yeah. And I'm going to tell you what, that's just how it goes. Super Tuesday, then we're going to see what the race is. Super Tuesday, today is the day we're going to see what the race is. And it'll probably come down to a race between, Bernie Sanders, who he's representing the, like, far left. That's the left. That's the liberal candidate. He's technically not even Democrat. He's a Democratic socialist. He ain't even a member of the Democratic Party, which I'm going to bring up in a second. He ain't even a member of the Democratic Party. And then Joe Biden, who's more of a moderate Democrat, which to me has a better chance because most Americans are moderate. You got a hardcore right, you got a hardcore left, but most Americans in the middle. They just want to make sure the bills are paid. And the best chance of that is somebody who's going to keep their bills paid. It's like Bill Clinton said back in 92 when he was running for president. It's the economy, stupid. So the moderates, that's going to be a big thing. And then, if it looks like, now I'm saying this now, I don't know what the results are. This is early in the morning, so when y'all watch this tomorrow morning, don't be saying, well, I'm this or that. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win, but if it does come to a case where Biden wins a significant amount of states and Sanders wins a significant amount of states, it's like many pundits have already been saying, it's going to be a Biden Sanders race. Now, see, here's the thing I'm going to get into, which I haven't heard anybody talk about this yet, but super delegates. Because when they win individual states, they win a set number of delegates, right? Okay, that's cool. But then it's the super delegates who can vote for whoever the hell they want. That makes the difference. And if anybody remembers 2008 with Obama and, Hillary Clinton, she had a lot of super delegates, but when it looked like Obama was starting to kick ass and stuff, a lot of them switched. And see, that's the interesting thing about the Democratic Party with the whole super delegate thing, which to me, oh, dang, dude got a damn falcon out there. Anyway, like a falcon on his arm. So, with that super delegate thing, at the end of the day, it depends on who they want to endorse. And that's where Sanders get in trouble, because he's technically not a member of the party. It's amazing they let him run. Honestly, if I was running any type of political party, you would have to be a card-carrying member of it. That's one, that's one problem I have with the whole democratic system in this country. It's like anybody can run for office. They just put a letter behind their name, they can run for it. To me, they shouldn't be allowed to run under a party unless they've been an active member, dues paying member of the party. But that's other places. You know how we do here. But yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, about 8 o'clock, I'm just turn on different news networks and see what the projections are and stuff. That's going to tell you a lot. And even then, unless Sanders pretty much, for the Democrats, he pretty much got he got to kick ass. He can't split. He got to kick ass. Because if it looked like Biden does very well, it'll be a situation of the superdelegates would be like, oh, wait, man, we need to go with him. Especially when polls, which you got to take with a grain of salt anyway, seem to suggest he would do better against Trump. And the Democrats, they more focus on like, oh, we got to find somebody who's going to kick ass. I don't know. It should be interesting because you have two ideological streams within the Democratic Party, And just to be clear for anybody listening, because I know sometimes people get in this partisanship, I'm a registered independent. It depends on who represents my interests. So I could vote Democrat in an election if it represents my interests, or since I'm in the state of Maryland, we have a very good governor, Larry Hogan. I actually voted for him. So just to be clear, when I'm looking at this, very objective, is business, business, business. And speaking of business, that's the thing, really. All this other stuff, all this ideological stuff, it's still going to come down to money. Because one thing Trump has, a lot of people have benefited from him. They probably don't give a shit about what he's talking about, probably think he's stupid as shit. But a lot of people making money off of him. They making money off the economy as it is now. Unless this virus, and I could do another video on this virus, unless this virus throws things into a recession like some people think. But there was already some other stuff. But yeah. So anyway, just want to say that real quick. I'll see. I'll pay attention. This will be the first time I pay attention to what's going on politically, And just real quick, because I know people say this person popular. If you really going to pay attention to what's going on, it's better to pay attention state by state and see who's winning and who's polling well in each state. Because the last election, Donald Trump won the election through the Electoral College, but popular vote, he lost. And that's a very important thing. So at the end of the day, you still got to pay attention to state by state. That's the most important thing. State by state, and see who's doing well where. And I would say, if you're going to analyze it, okay, which states are doing well economically, which ones aren't, because the ideological thing, like I said, the core of each presidential candidate and even the president himself, that's there. They're going to vote whatever. But when you talk about some of the other stuff that people are going to be getting into, the money and all of that, boom. And then, even then, a big part will still be the turnout. Understand something, only 50% of the population, United States population, is even registered to vote, typically. And then off of that, it's considered a high turnout if you get 50% to actually show up to the polls. So if you really look at it overall, the election's decided by 25% of the United States population. And that's a very interesting thing. And even then, it still comes down to state by state. Like anybody doing any political analysis, I would suggest start looking at each state and then see how each state rolls. And then roll over to see how, put it together. So if you say, okay, this many states is supporting this candidate, this is the amount of electoral votes they have, boom, So we're going to see. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, So I don't know. Well, man, I know something about. I'm gonna say the way they do projections and everything. I'll say about 9 o'clock. Well, I gotta see which states. It depends. It'll probably be about 11 o'clock. Then we'll have a really good idea. Really good idea. And the Democrats are paying attention, but even then, with the super delegates, no telling where they'll go. So I mean, honestly, and I used to actually do political analysis for a living, and like if I ever got sick of this, I could really get into it. I actually got somebody who actually owns a political strategy firm, and a friend of mine. All I do is hit him up. He had actually offered me a job before, but I said, oh no, I'd rather just rile people up on YouTube. So anyway, y'all, I'll get back with y'all later. Peace.